605 is a song of invitation tonight. Tonight we've got a treat. Gary Brown is with us here. He's from the West Ark congregation in Fort Smith. I know several of you know him from several different directions. He's the president of Diversified Food Solutions. You also may hear his name if you listen to ESPN radio here in town. He's what I call a college football expert. So he talks about college football on not only on that radio station, but also does college football content for several internet sources as well. So if you got a college football question, that's the best man tonight to ask that. You also probably know Gary because he's married to Rochelle, used to be Shaddocks, who grew up here at Northside, and so he's also Kurt and Reba's son-in-law. And he's going to talk to us tonight about what you see behind me. Glad to have Gary here tonight.
Okay, first of all, let's get the football thing out of the way. I went to Alabama, so don't hold that against me. So I come at this objectively. Be patient, Razorback fans. Be patient. You're probably going to be 3-9 or 4-8 this year, but you're going to be better than you were last year. But just go look at the schedule, and it's pretty rough. Okay, I assume you guys are mostly teenagers, right? Okay, can y'all do me a favor? Like 90% of this tonight is about you guys, and I don't have to walk over here all night because I'm like old. So could you guys do me a favor? I'm going to ask you something hard, okay? Could y'all come sit over here? Could you do this for me? Okay, thank you very much. See, that guy right there, he was the first one to move, so he's my friend. I like him. All right, so here we go, all the way over here. I think the two most terrifying things your in-laws can ever hear is the day before you're their in-law when you want to marry their daughter. And the second most frightening thing is probably the day somebody says, oh, Gary's going to speak at your church in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm here. And Rochelle could not make it. You know her as Shelley primarily. Everybody up here has two names I've also learned. It's Kenny, not Ken. Reba is Kathleen, not Reba. So you guys all carry two names, it seems like. But yeah, she's not here. She's got to get ready to take Meredith off to, Bethany off to Searcy tomorrow for registration. Who's going to Harding next year over here? Bethany. I'm Bethany's dad. Okay, yeah, there you go. Good to see you. Good to see you. I've heard about you. Yeah. Anyhow, she's going to Harding as well next year. So anyhow, good to be with you guys tonight. And there are a lot of special relationships here. And our two communities do have a lot of connections. Michael Cole and I have been sitting in Bible classes together now for about 25 years. We've gone on about, 4 or 5 mission trips together and have enjoyed every one of them. I'm not a doctor. He does that side. I do the other side of the coin and have enjoyed that. We obviously got the Collins. We got, McLean now down there with us. You guys will be really proud of how she and Logan have kind of incorporated themselves into our congregation. They're working with the kids. They are working with our teens. They're working in our music programs. So y'all can be proud of them and what they're doing in Fort Smith. You be proud of Michael, too. He's an elder down there. And you be proud of Rochelle. She's been active in that congregation since before I got there and does a great job in the jail ministry for women, teaching young kids. So thanks for getting everybody there. And thanks also because I also got married in your building here. I came out that door. The wedding started 10 minutes late. I thought she might have left. But she didn't, we had some guests who arrived late and everything else. And one more connection. Steve, where are you? There, over here. Steve's mother, Miss Arlene, and Rochelle taught together at Metro Christian School. And if you ask Rochelle to this day who one of her favorite mentors of all time is, your mother's name is going to be in that top 5 along with Martha Walker and Janet Berryhill and some others that you probably remember. So great memories of your mom and your dad both. Appreciate them more than you know. Now, on to the subject at hand tonight. How many of you have a telephone with you right now? It's okay to admit you've got it. It's okay. Yeah. How many of you ever access the internet on that telephone? Yeah, okay, so the hands start going up again. We live in a different world, okay? We live in a world that's really wired today. And I want us to talk about that tonight. Before I kind of get into that, though, I want to tell you how I got involved in this. Why am I here talking to you about this? I'm a chicken peddler primarily. That's how I refer to myself as. I peddle chickens. So how is it I'm here qualified to talk about this? Do any of you know the name Morgan Nick? Yeah. Morgan Nick was a young girl, for those who don't know, when she was 8 years old, was out at a baseball park one night with her family watching baseball. And just like your family has done before when you've gone to ballparks as well, the kids go out and they play amongst each other. Morgan was no further than where I'm standing to that back door, playing in a sandbox behind the bleachers with about 4 or 5 of her friends. And Colleen turned around and started looking for Morgan. She's not there. Morgan's gone. And they started looking for Morgan. And here we are, we're 18 years later, and we don't know where Morgan is still. And I've done some work with the Morgan Nick Foundation along the way to help them with some education programs as a volunteer. And it got me dialed in and tuned in to this wired world that we live in. Because we live in a world that our children, and by the way, when I say children, I'm going to be talking about you, okay? You're not children in the sense that you're small, but you're your mom and dad's child still, okay? So don't take offense if I say children. It's okay. Biologically, you're their child. So let's just clear that up right away. By the way, the worst part about sitting this close, I do spit when I talk. You've already learned that, haven't you? Not yet? I thought I saw you lively. I will spit on you before the night's over, just so you know. Anyhow, so the Morgan Nick Foundation, what we do, what we're about, is going out and educating people about how to stay safe. Because the last thing that we ever want, the last thing the foundation ever wants, is for Morgan's story to be the story of your child or of your grandchild. And so we're going to talk about things tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you ahead of time. I may hurt your feelings at some point because I'm going to talk to you pretty direct. I'm not very good at sugarcoating things. I'll tell you what the facts are, and I'll tell you what's happening. But here's something that blows my mind every time I see it. Every single day in this country, about 2,000 kids go missing. Every single day. And the reality is this. The way Morgan was taken is the unusual occurrence. Morgan's was a true stranger abduction. She was taken by somebody that nobody knows, the family doesn't know, no one knows who this person is. Of those, there are only about 200 in this country a year. Most abductions that occur are somebody that is known to the child, known to the family, or there is some connection with prior to the child going missing. You can see the numbers up there. I won't read those to you. But 2,000 kids a day go missing. And that's kind of a staggering number when you start thinking about it and looking at it. This conversation we're having matters. And it matters more than anything else because it's a spiritual conversation. You look at this, and I love Philippians 4 on this. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever's true, whatever's noble, whatever's right, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things. That's good advice. That's good advice for everywhere we are. And we're everywhere now. How many Facebook users I got in here? Yeah, look at the hands going up. Any people tweeting in here? Yeah, Kenny tweets. I operate, by the way, while I'm in here tonight, I will tweet 7 times. You'll never see me do it, but I will tweet 7 times tonight. I staged them all this morning before I left the house to get busy at work. How many of you guys are tweeting? Yeah, I've got one tweet. Okay, you guys are pretty, okay. She's partially raising her hand down there. Do your parents know you have a Twitter account? Okay, I'll make sure of that. Yeah, but they're in this wired world on Xbox Live and Twitter. So raise your hand if you've heard at least of all of these. Hands are going up. Now let me ask you another question. How many of these have you ever heard of? Look at that. The one at the top is an app called Yik Yak. You guys got Yik Yak on your phone? How many Yik Yackers are there? Yeah, Snapchat? Okay, get your hands up. I know you got Snap. By the way, I know you got you got phones. I know you got this stuff on there. Okay, so you're normal people, right? Yeah. But here's the problem. You think you know where their wired world is. It's huge. It's all encompassing. And here's the thing. Mom and dads like to do what? Make rules, don't they? We're going to make rules about what you can and can't do on Facebook. Well, about time you have the rules made for Facebook, guess what? They're on Twitter. Now you make your Twitter rules, well, they're on Snapchat. By the time you get to Snapchat, they're on Vapor. Then they're on Wicker. Anybody got those on there yet? They're coming. Just know it, okay? So they're ahead of you. And you make these rules for something specific that you can't keep up with. It moves too fast. Way too fast. Here's some things you need to know. This wired world is important to these guys. It matters. You know why it matters to them? Because it's how they stay connected to each other. All right? That's how they stay connected to each other. That's not a bad thing, okay? Let me ask you this. If you were a child of the 70s like I was, did your mother and father ever gripe at you because you had that phone with the long cord that you would take from their bedroom across the hall into your bedroom and shut the door and stay on it for hours talking to your friends? Did anybody do that in here? Yeah, I see a couple of guys being honest about it. Yeah, what were we doing? We were staying in touch with our friends. That's all we were doing. That's what they're doing. They're staying in touch with their friends. It's how they communicate that way, like we communicate it by that telephone. And so don't think that the technology itself is bad. Sometimes as parents, that's the big mistake we make. I've been guilty of it. We look at the technology and we think, that's bad. I don't like how they're doing that. It's all consuming. It can be. It can be dangerous. But like most things, I should have made that font bigger. Like most things in life, it's not the technology that's good or bad. It's how we use that technology that tells us what the value is. West Ark Church of Christ, thanks to Michael Cole, I'm proud to say, had one of the first websites among churches of Christ. We had all of our Sunday school lessons on there. We had all of our sermons on there. We had our mission resources on there. We had World Bible School on there. That's a fantastic use of technology. I don't think anybody would say that wasn't. Technology can be used for good. And I know lots of teens who are using technology in really, really great ways. So let's not be critical of the technology. Okay? That's the first thing we got to do is just get that out of our minds for two reasons. It's not good or bad by itself. And the second thing, it ain't going back. It's not going away. I'm a traditionalist, okay? I wouldn't wear anything but white shirts to church until about a year and a half ago when I became a liberal and put on blue shirts. You know, they used to not play night baseball at Wrigley Field. Guess what? They do now. It's not going back again. It makes more money for them. Technology's not going back. So you may not like it, but it's going to be here. So we've got to embrace it in that regard. Now, here's something we got to know, though. Because now I'm talking to y'all real specifically. All right? There's a tendency that when we go online or we're on our telephones, texting and on our Snapchats and everything else, we have this idea in our heads that we're in some make-believe world, that it's not a real place. The one thing you guys have got to understand, if you don't take anything else from what I say about this, you take this out tonight, okay? When you are online, you are at a real place every bit as much as you are sitting in this auditorium right now. It's not some mythical land of unicorns. It's a real place. And that's the one thing that I think we have a disconnect on. And I think adults also have this disconnect, watching some of our posts on Twitters and Facebooks. When you're online, you are in a real place every bit as much as when you're sitting in this auditorium right now. And we need to remember that because when you were growing up, when you would get in the car, what's the first thing your mom and dad would do for you? What? Okay, yeah, put that seatbelt on, right? Mom and dads, you would make sure they had that seatbelt on, right? You know? Well, when we go online, we need to put some seatbelts on sometimes. We need to be safe when we go online, just like we are in the other things that we do. Here are some facts, and I'm not going to I don't want to just go through a bunch of numbers here because that gets really boring and dull unless you're a number geek like me. And I've got some copies of this back there if you want to take some of these numbers home later on. But 27% of these guys use their telephone to go online. Now, I'm going to tell you that's a number considering all teens everywhere. Probably a higher percentage here, given the socioeconomic background and all that. Probably a little higher number there. But they're going online with their phone. You know what that means? If they're using their phone to get online, they don't have to be sitting at a table in the family room any longer to get online. They can do it from wherever they are, whenever they are. They're online all the time. They're on social networks, 73%. I'm still trying to find those who aren't on a social network. Bethany's roommate is not on Facebook. Yeah, yes, I am. That's the one I found who's not online right now. Look at this. 80% of their time is spent on social networks. And then 7.5 million users on Facebook are under the age of 13. Now, here's where I'm going to hurt your feelings, okay? If you have a child who is under 13 that is on Facebook, I'm going to hurt your feelings here. You have taught your child to be a liar. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You've allowed your child to lie. You have taught them to lie. Because Facebook, there's a little statement that makes you say, yes, I'm above the age of 13. So if you have put your child on there already, we need to talk about your online habits already. So see me afterwards and I'll give you some more things you need to do. But if you've allowed your child to have a Facebook account, you've allowed them to lie online. Think about that. Would you let them walk into school and lie about something? Always let them lie online. That's my question for you. So there's some facts. Here's what it says here. Here's what they do. And we're going to get into why some of this matters later on. They post personal pictures. Watch this. How many of y'all posted pictures on your Facebook account of yourself? Raise your hand. Raise your hand so the people in the back can see them. Let's go. Okay? Yeah, look at just about all of them. Let's see here. School name. Where you go to school. How many got that on there? No? Okay, way to go. That's pretty good. Current city, where you live. Yeah, it's on there. Please tell me you don't have your email address and phone numbers on there. Do you? Okay, good. They're doing pretty well there. But this is what they do. And you look at from 2006 to 2013, how it has just changed. We were doing better 7, 8 years ago than we are now in controlling the content that kids are putting in all these arenas. So there's some facts. Typical person, 300 friends. They're friends with people they don't know. Here's what happens, okay? It's a big deal to them how many followers they have. By the way, these guys are little social media marketing experts. All right? They time their post so that they hit at just the right time for their friends to see them. See, they're laughing because I'm telling the truth, right? Yeah, they time them just so people say they're marketing experts. But there's a big race. Who can get the most friends a lot of times? And so they see a friend who has a friend that goes, that they don't know. Well, they'll friend that person. They're making friends online with people they don't know. So mom and dads, if your child has friends on Facebook that they don't know, you've invited strangers into your house. Congratulations. Yeah, that's what you've done. You've invited strangers into your house. We'll talk more about that as well. And then the one that bothers me the most up here is this connect. And it bothers me because I see the good and the bad with it. The number that are friends with their teachers or coaches on Facebook. There are very good uses in education for Facebook. If you are a history teacher and you've got 60 students or 70 students and you're studying the Declaration of Independence, you can create a little group on Facebook for your students where you can give them other references to go look at and they can do some studying outside of class. Real positive. Unfortunately, we've also got experience with teachers who go beyond that and look to establish inappropriate relationships with students because they're friends on Facebook. I've got a lot of mixed emotions about it, but I'll let each school system deal with that, and I won't have an opinion because it's good and bad. By the way, mom and dad, they're leaving Facebook, okay? They don't like Facebook because grandma is on there. They love you, but they don't want to hang out with you on Facebook, okay? And this is the natural order of things in social media. What happens in most of this technology stuff, they get it before we do. And so they get on there, they're having fun with it, and then we all see that we like it, that it's pretty cool, and so we want to get on there. We get on there, and then, like I said, Grandma gets on there. Well, once we get on there, guess who else comes to the table? Businesses come, because now they've got people they can advertise to. And by the time we're at that stage, these guys have moved on to something different. They're still using Facebook, but not at the sheer numbers they were using. They also don't like our controversial postings about politics. You guys like politics? Yeah, they don't want to hear about the border issues and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, they're leaving Facebook, but it doesn't mean they're leaving social media at this time. Now, this is important stuff here. Because you want to know why they're on social media? Why they're using it? Look at that top number. 57% report having experiences online that make them feel better about themselves. Again, I grew up in 1970s Alabama. I don't know how that works. But they get on there and they get affirmation. People go where they get affirmation. They like to be told they're nice. They like to be, feel like they're in a group or a club of some kind, like they're in the clique. So they're going there because it provides positive experience for them. And again, that's not good or bad in and of itself until you get down to the details of how that specific teen is using that and what it is that's prompting that. And then the bottom number also is worrisome. 1 in 6 have had unwanted contact with somebody. In other words, somebody contacted them that they didn't want to have a conversation with. They didn't want to have as a friend or a follower, that they didn't want to share their information with. 1 in 6. So if we start looking right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 3 of these guys, 2 or 3 of these guys would have had it happen. So that's the kind of, just give you some perspective on it. And ladies, by the way, boy, we're kind of boy-girl here, aren't we? These young ladies are the target online. Okay? I've got 2 daughters, so y'all, I'm going to be talking to y'all mostly because I don't care about the guys. But these young ladies are the targets online. That's who the predators go after. That's who they're looking for. And that's what we've got to really, really be aware of. Online relationships. You can know somebody online and not know who they are at all. And I'm going to give you a good example of this. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Manti Te'o. I got a hand going up here. Who is Manti Te'o? Do you know who he is? Thank you. Stop right there. He's a linebacker for Notre Dame. Don't go the rest of the story yet. Was he good? Second in the Heisman, I think, is last year. So Manti Te'o was a linebacker for Notre Dame, who, by the way, was beat by the University of Alabama in the national title game his senior year. Manti Te'o was a linebacker at Notre Dame. Some things to know. All right, you guys need to hear this. Manti Te'o is an all-American linebacker at Notre Dame. He's media savvy. He's used to having microphones stuck in his face and have to respond in a hurry. Second thing, he's at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is harder to get into than Alabama. You've got to be fairly intelligent. I think it's like top 2% in the nation academically get into Notre Dame. So here's Manti Te'o. He is very smart, and he is media savvy. Now, somebody else tell me something we know about Manti Te'o. Anybody else got another reason they know of Manti Te'o? He fell in love. I mean, he fell hard in love, didn't he? With this young girl. They had this online relationship for 3 years. He was smitten. He was going to marry this girl. Except this girl was some guy in San Diego pretending to be a girl. If that guy can get sucked into it, you can get sucked into it. That's the point of that story. You don't know somebody online if that's the only place you've ever known that person. And we're going to let Julie tell you her story. I've met this young lady, and I'll tell you about her here in just a second.
The internet, it's a tool that has to be used properly. It's like a knife. I mean, It's very helpful, but it can also cut you. My name is Julie. When I was 13, I started talking to Tom. He didn't act or even sound like a 56-year-old man, so he was different on the computer. I knew that I wasn't supposed to be talking to him, but I did it out of a retaliation against my parents. It felt nice to have somebody who wasn't always trying to tell you what to do. It started to get more like a relationship where it went from just friends to best friends, a more personal relationship than best friends. I would instant message him between 3 and 6 hours a day. I was really upset whenever I couldn't get on the internet because I knew that he would be like, "What were you doing?" And he emailed me like 10 times wondering where I was at. Then you feel like extremely bad about it. It was an opportunity for him to manipulate more. I trusted him more than anybody else. He mentioned, wouldn't it be nice if we were together all the time? And then the thought came up of running away. The night I left, I kissed all my brothers goodnight, and he was in his truck, and we just rode out. I ran away for 3 weeks. The day that I was found, we were on our way to Reno. Somebody reported us and saw our truck. I knew pretty much it's over. And I never really thought the day would come. He's going to be in jail for 25 years. He sent a letter to me saying that it was my fault and that he was going to kill me if he ever got out of jail. I was really upset because he didn't say anything about caring about me. I didn't think of his background, and I didn't apply it to myself, and so maybe he could have done anything to me, even killed me. And so, now that I'm back, I feel like there's this huge emptiness inside of me. If I could have talked to people, maybe I would have had a different view on some things. If you're planning to run away, it doesn't help solve anything. If it does anything, it makes it worse. Little things can end up becoming a big thing. I kind of wish that I never would have run away in the first place. I would never do it again.
I've met Julie. Sweet, sweet young girl. By the way, kids break me up, okay? I don't get choked up about much, but these kind of things, they break my heart. Sweet, sweet young girl. She was classified not as a runaway, but as a stranger, not a stranger, but a non-family member abduction. It was somebody that was known to her because they'd been chatting online and all these things. These guys are good at what they do. And there was one thing she said that really illustrated it to me in that video. Now, when they were arrested in Reno, whose truck were they in? What? Thank you. You get $1. I've shown this video about 40 times. No, I want you to have that. Give it to him. He can have it. I've shown that video about 40 times. When I've asked that question, only one other person has ever got the answer right. Almost everybody says we were in his truck. That's not what she said. We were in our truck. Think about how powerful that is. This guy has taken this girl away from her family. He has had a sexual relation with her at that point, not one she was voluntarily entering into. And he is into her mind so far that at the point when she can actually get away from him, our truck. That's how good these guys are. They're good at what they do. Ladies, guys, some warning signs about a relationship you might not want to be in. And by the way, these are pretty good rules of thumbs to use for just any relationship, not just those that are online. If you're in a relationship where somebody's trying to keep you from your family and friends, that's probably not a good relationship. Your friends, your family, they have had your best interest at heart for a long time in most cases. Somebody who doesn't want you around those people doesn't have your best interest at heart. That's a warning sign. The next thing, they turn you against your parents. See, here's what they know. All right? I'm going to confess to something, okay? We've got 2 daughters. Okay, I'm going to confess to something right now. You know, we're still got one teen, one. There are times when they get upset with us. Okay, yes, it's hard to imagine, but there are times that my children actually have got upset with me and or Rochelle. Now I know that doesn't happen at your house, right? Nobody's ever had that problem. You guys have never been upset with your parents, right? No, it doesn't happen. Yeah, here's the deal. You know what the predator knows? The predator knows that in a home there is conflict at times between mom and dad and a teenager. And they use that. The predator is the one when you are on probation or restriction for your grades, not y'all, all scholars over here, but when you're in trouble for your grades and can't go out this weekend, the predator is the one who's saying, I can't believe your mom and dad would treat you that way. Do they not care about you like I do? The predator is the one who, when the car keys are taken away from you because Mr. Cole over here saw you driving too fast and told your folks, is the one who's saying to you, they took your car keys away so you can't get out and run around this weekend? They're really mean to you, aren't they? They're good at this stuff. They know what to say to you to work their way in. Anybody trying to separate you from your parents is a warning sign. Secrets. Hey, this is just between me and you, okay? No. There's no other adult you should be in a relationship with that you should have a secret with. No adult should be asking you to keep something just between the two of you and don't tell your parents, okay? Shouldn't happen. That's an inappropriate relationship. They send you inappropriate material. If you are in a relationship where these things are going on, I'm just going to tell you, get out of that relationship. I don't care if it's online or walking around in the parking lot tomorrow, okay? That's an unhealthy relationship you don't want to be in. Those are some big warning signs, all right? And I'm telling you, you're too good to be in a relationship where those things are going on. You're way too good for that. So these are warning signs. And by the way, the guy in the picture, you know, when we think of the predator, the internet predator, I meant to make mention of him. You know, we always think what? The guy who's real big and ugly and isn't attractive. Well, guess what? You know, predators look like all of us. They aren't always the ugly guy. You know, you aren't going to pick the predator out sitting at the mall. They look a lot like all of us. They act like all of us. They're real good at these things. For your internet safety, some things to remember, guys, okay? And this is hard stuff to do. But if you are ever in a situation like that, talk to somebody, okay? If you're ever in that situation where somebody's bothering you online, tell somebody. Talk to somebody you trust. And I mean an adult, not your best friends, okay? Talk to somebody about these kind of things. Don't respond to messages online that are offensive to you. These are things to just keep in mind. Be careful about your personal pictures. We're going to talk more about that here in just a second. We're going to get on to moms and dads for that as well. But these things to remember. Second thing here. How many of you guys have your privacy settings on right now? If I went to your Facebook page right now, I could not get there. You think so? You don't know so, though, do you? Okay, yeah. 83% of teens do not have their privacy settings on. What that means, anybody can go to their Facebook page. Anybody can go to their Twitter account. They don't use, and the social media sites don't want you using your privacy settings, but they don't have their privacy settings on. So we need to get those things on, guys. Keep yourself safe. You don't want people you don't know there. You don't want me there. I don't know you guys. Get those privacy settings on. Here's some things to know, okay? Here's just a little checklist here real fast. Keep what should be private, private. Social media is not the place to be airing all of your dirty laundry, to be telling all of your deep, dark secrets, because when you do, people will capitalize that. Only add people you know in real life. My email address, ready? Who's ready? Who's really fast? I'll pick on you since you're going to Hardy. Stand up. My email address starts this way. My personal one. G.N. Brown, 1961. What do you know about me right away? Okay. What else? Oh, the year I was born! it's been a long day, hasn't it? You're never coming over for dinner, just so you know. No. Yeah, but it's a bad email address. It's a bad email address because I've given her my last name. She's got my first initial, my middle initial, and the year I was born. She's got a lot of information that she can start researching me with. That's how these people are. They're good at this kind of stuff. Moving down the list, don't put your plans on where you're going on your Facebook page. About to go to the mall to hang out. No. Do you know who needs to know you're at the mall? Whoever you're going to be at the mall with. The rest of the world does not need to know that you are at the mall right then. Parents, when you post on Facebook and Twitter and all those places where you are, you're telling everybody where your child is. Wait till you get home, okay? Wait till you get home and tell everybody what a great time you had. Don't tell them where you are. And by the way, just common sense, when you're on vacation, don't start posting the pics that you're in Destin on the beach on day one. Because all you've done is given the guy who wants to break into your house a jump start on taking all of your things out of your home. It happens every day. Be careful about what you put online. Be smart with these things. Don't share your passwords. It's yours. It's personal. Let's see here. Is your best friend here? You got a best friend here? Sure. Which one of these guys? Daniel? Hey, Daniel, how are you, buddy? Hey, Daniel, you ever used his toothbrush? No. Why not? Dirty. It's dirty. Okay. You don't use each other's toothbrush? Why? It's dirty. It's yours, right? Yeah, it's your. Does anybody here share a toothbrush? Don't raise your hand if you do, okay? We really don't want. Yeah. Your toothbrush is personally yours. Your passwords are personally yours. Don't share your passwords. Somebody has your passwords, don't they? Yeah, I can tell by your face. Don't share your passwords. They're private. Keep them that way. See, I think we're going to change to a video here. See if I've got it. Oh. Back up one for me if you could, please. I hit the button wrong. I want you to meet my friend Patty. We might have to double click to get her to play, it looks like. There we go.
Okay, Lindsay, you're up.
Today I'm going to talk about Patty. Patty's best characteristics, she's stupid. Stupid and ugly. Everything she does is ugly. Watch her eat. Watch her stuff her face. Look at her. Greasy hair, dirty fingernails. It makes me want to vomit. Her dad doesn't work, they have no money. That's why she wears that nasty pink sweater. Everyone hates her, even the teachers, and they're supposed to like everyone. Get a life, Patty. Thank you.
We'll talk some real specifics in the wired world. How about that little Lindsay? She's a little angel, isn't she? You know, this little cherub-looking girl walks up to that microphone, and all of a sudden, these vile things start coming out of her mouth. And did you watch Patty's face? You know, tell me about Patty. She brightened up, didn't she? And buddy, then she just got ripped into it. She just kind of sank. You know, the world has changed since I was a kid. In 1970s Alabama, growing up, if you had a bully problem, it was very different than a bully problem today. First of all, I went to a high school where I graduated with 600 people. If my bully wanted to pick on me, he had to find me amongst these 600 people. Amongst these 2,400 people. And then to bully me, he also had to find me when Chip, Troy, or Fred weren't right there, which was also going to be very hard to do. And then when I went home at night, he didn't have my phone number. He didn't know how to find me. And at the end of the day, if I had a bully problem in 1970s Alabama, if I wanted to take care of that problem, I could do that myself. It's different today. First of all, they can't take care of their own bully problems at school. Good or bad, say what you want, but if they take care of their bully problem, they're going to get kicked out of school. Okay? But the second thing is that bully can find them all the time. That bully can find them wherever they are, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it never, ever, ever lets up. Look at these numbers up here. We won't rat that. I'm just going to summarize this slide by saying, just giving you one illustration. I'm going to tell you, if we polled these guys right here, or if we just said, here's the teenagers of the entire world, I'm going to assure you of one thing. Every child over here, every teen, every kid, every grown, middle adult thing, every one of them either is being bullied or knows someone who is being bullied, knows a bully, or is the bully themselves. Every one of these are going to hit one of those categories. It's that prevalent. It's everywhere. So this is a problem. And the problem arises because they don't tell people about them. They don't tell adults what's going on. And then that last stat down there just ought to shake us to our core. And don't trust me when I tell you that cyberbullying leads to suicide. Go to Google tonight. Go to Google News and enter two phrases, cyberbullying and suicide, and see how many stories come up. It's a bad thing. It's a dangerous thing. And it's something that we need to make sure that we're aware of with our kids as they're moving around out there. And so there's some things we can do to kind of deal with this, all right? First of all, when you're getting bullied online, when somebody's bullying your kid, your grandchild, tell them not to respond. Don't retaliate. Okay? Let me ask you a question. You think about this for a second. If somebody sends you a message online, all right, let's see, okay? If somebody sends you a message online, sends you a text, and you don't respond, what have they got to work with? Nothing. They got nothing to work with. But the moment you respond, the moment you write something back, now they've got something to work with. They know, because they know you're going to talk to them now. Don't respond. Don't retaliate, okay? Next thing, tell a trusted adult. Make sure you tell somebody, okay? If you're being bullied or you've got a friend who's being bullied, you tell somebody. I'm going to share a secret with y'all here, okay? And guys, it's girls, I'm going to tell you about guys. And you women know this is true already because you're married to guys already. Every man in here has a secret dream, okay? We all want to be a superhero. All right? You see, it's true, isn't it? Yeah. Probably Batman right here. That's all. Yeah. Every man in here wants to be a superhero, and the reality is we think we can be. All right? I'm going to give you a way to be a superhero. You got a friend who's being bullied online, and they won't tell somebody, you tell somebody. Make sure you tell a trusted adult that this is going on, because you shouldn't put up with it. You shouldn't have to. Tell somebody. Make sure that somebody knows about this. Save the evidence. When Meredith, our oldest daughter, was in 8th, 9th grade, she had a bully. She had a girl that was bullying her. And, Meredith, I was proud of her. She kept taking the high road, doing the right things. But being the good father I was, well, just delete that off your telephone. Save it. Here's why you're saving it. In the state of Arkansas today, cyberbullying is a prosecutable crime. But if you take that off your phone, parents take notice. If they don't have that information on those texts on their phones that they were getting, if they don't have those texts in their Facebook account they were getting, you're going to have a hard time convincing a school administrator or the police that your child is being bullied. So save the evidence. Do just the opposite of what I told my daughter to do. You keep the evidence so that you can help put a stop to your bullying, okay? Make sure you save it. Save anything that seems like a threat and report it right away. But this, don't put up with this. Block the harasser. Do you guys know how to block people on your phones and Facebooks and all that? Block them. Don't let them keep communicating with you, okay? You're too good to put up with this stuff. Protect yourself when you're out there. Don't let somebody treat you that way. There we go. Now we're going to shift gears. We're going to get uncomfortable now, okay? And I'm just going to tell you, this may be a little uncomfortable topic for some of you. What is the most obvious thing in this room? We don't see it? The big red elephant, right? We put these big red elephants in rooms, and we don't like to talk about things because they make us uncomfortable sometimes. I may be introducing a word here to some of you that you've never heard before. It's a huge problem. We're going to watch a video first, though. For those who couldn't see, he asked to send a hot pic of herself to him.
I heard it was 2 a.m.
Check this out.
Whoa! Oh man! Yo, send that to me real quick. I'm not gonna. Come on, send that to me. Yo, you
Pull it up full screen. Look at that, boys. Check that out, boys. I had to send this to Mark.
Send that out now.
The word is sexting. It's a new word. 90% of us in here never had a word like that when we were in high school. 22% of teens send pictures of themselves to somebody else in a sexually suggestive way. 22%. 14 to 29. 14 to 24-year-olds. 29 send them to people they haven't ever even met before. You start looking at these numbers, they kind of make you sad. And look at the bottom number. 17% who get the message actually send it on to somebody else. And 55% of those with more than one person. Those apps we were talking about at the very beginning, when I was showing you Yik Yak and asked about Snapchat, moms and dads, this is why you've got to know what's on your child's phone. Okay? Here's Snapchat for you, okay? And by the way, some qualifications for you. I have operated a series of websites for years. I have developed apps and sold apps as well, okay? I know how these things work. So, I've got some experience with this. Snapchat, what it does, if you don't know, is I send you a message, you open the message, and then in theory, what happens to the message? It goes away. And there's no record of it. Is that what you think? Thank you. In theory, what happens is I send a text, I send this message to you, and once you get it, 10 seconds, it's gone. And that way, nobody ever knows. They can't forward it. It can't be shared. Okay? Snapchat does that. That's the biggest problem I have with Snapchat is I'm trying to figure out what socially relevant function it serves. And there is one that I came up with. But the kids use it, and I'm not saying all kids, but it's used for sexting in a lot of cases. Now, all the kids, I'm not saying every kid who's got it is doing that, okay? Don't hear that in what I'm saying. All right? Because, again, they all like the Snapchat's a big thing. But it's a tool they use. And as a parent, this is why you need to know it's on there, so at least you're having this conversation with your child about how they're using that tool. Right? But the problem is, once you figure out Snapchat, now they're using a thing called Vapor, which does the exact same thing, but because you don't know about it yet, you don't know to ask the question about it. And behind Vapor, after that, there's one called Wicker that's going to be used. And if you don't know, so see, if you make a rule about Snapchat, you didn't have a rule for Vapor. You can't survive with your child online giving them a specific rule about a specific website or a specific app. That's why this is a spiritual issue, because you've got to instill in your child the value that keeps them from wanting to send that picture to start with. That's the importance of knowing what's going on in this world, because you will not keep ahead of it. You can't do it. And the idea, Snapchat, guys, listen to me on this closely. You send that picture from your telephone, where'd my telephone go? You send that picture from your telephone, it doesn't magically float over to somebody else's telephone and then disappear. It goes through a server somewhere. It probably is going through a couple of servers to get there. And once it's on that server somewhere, do you know where it stays? On that server. Companies don't ever, unless it's the IRS, clean out their servers, okay? I guess I've got a new exception out there, the Internal Revenue does. But they don't clean them up. They keep them because they have data on them about you that they use. What you got to know when you're online, and by the way, we got adults with this problem too, okay? This isn't just a teen problem, this is an adult problem as well. But once you send something, it's out there, and it's not ever going away. It's going to be there forever. So don't convince yourself it's going away. None of these apps really work that way. It may be off your phone, but it's somewhere out there. And the other thing I always talk about with this is trust is a complicated thing. Okay? I've got a book that I wrote, and the first chapter is about trust. Trust to me is probably the most precious relationship there is, trusting somebody. And it's a real complicated thing, okay? And when you're in a relationship with somebody, you know, what do we want to do? We want the other person we're in the relationship with to be happy, right? We want this to be a good, solid relationship. So we want there to be happiness. And so when they ask us to do something, you know, okay, let's talk about it. Let's think about that. Yeah, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And then we feel this pressure. Here's what I want you to know. If anybody would ask you to give them a picture of you in a way that could hurt you at some point in time, does that person have your best interest at heart? Is that person worthy of your trust? No. That person is not worthy of your trust. Not in any way. Don't give away something precious to somebody who doesn't deserve it. Okay? I don't have great bullet points on this one, except anybody who asks you for that isn't thinking of you. When that guy asked for that picture, when that girl wants that picture of that guy, you know who they're thinking about? Themselves. They aren't thinking about you. Don't do it. It's not worth it. There's a real cost that goes with it. This is a young lady named Jessie. Jessie lived in Cincinnati, Ohio. That video we showed was really Jessie's story. It's not, but it's the same thing. Jessie sent a picture of herself to her boyfriend when she was a junior in high school. Guess what he did? Everybody in school has this picture of Jessie. Things got so bad for Jessie that the family moved 120 miles away to a new school. Guess what follows Jessie to a brand new school? There it is. Jessie killed herself. This stuff has real world consequences, y'all. It's dangerous. And I see this precious little face of this precious little girl up here. And I know because she made one bad decision, the path it put her on. It would break my heart for that to be any of your story ever in life. And I don't even know you yet. Look around this room at these people who do know you and think how badly that would break their heart. This is serious stuff, guys. And you may think, oh, he's an old fuddy-duddy and all that thing. I don't want Morgan's story to be your story. I want you to have fun online. I want online to be a great place because I know there are good things going on online, okay? When our kids get online, they ought to have fun. You ought to enjoy it. But just like anything else you do in life, there are things you need to be safe. Do those things. Gang, we all come here tonight. And by the way, we're out of time. I'll be here as long as you want to answer any questions and go into any more detail about anything you'd like to hear about. But we all come here tonight. One thing I always love, I'm in Harrison, Arkansas tonight, and what I know is right now in Fort Smith, Arkansas, there are a group of people just like us who are meeting together. And they're talking about the same important things we are, about a Savior who died on a cross for us. I know in my hometown of Huntsville, Alabama, at the Mayfair Church of Christ and the Twickenham Church of Christ, there are people I know and love who are meeting right now talking about Jesus. And I know that earlier today in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Bahalu and some of the crowd there were meeting and talking about the same thing. We share a very unique and common bond. We love Arlene Powers because she taught my wife. Love the Collins because I'm getting to know his daughter down in Fort Smith. What brought all of us together at the end of the day was Jesus. I love visiting with other congregations for that reason alone. There is a great thing found in this fellowship. If you're here tonight and you're not a part of that fellowship yet, if you have not been baptized in Christ and had your sins washed away, we're going to sing an invitation song here in just a second. We'd invite you to come here and get inside that fellowship and be a part of it. It will change your life in ways you can't imagine. And if you just need prayers because something's not right in your life or because you just need a little encouragement because you've had a bad day, I'll bet you there are people here who pray with you as well for that. If that's your case tonight, if that's your story here tonight, now's the time you can come as we stand up and we sing together. As you sat back down. Yeah, come on.